Hey Dodgers fans, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into the roster, spring training developments, and the key questions that are shaping up for the start of the season. The Dodgers have made some interesting moves this offseason, adding pieces, adjusting lineups, and trying to figure out how to get the most out of their 26-man roster. With spring training underway, there's a lot to break down, from defensive positioning to offensive potential, and how the team balances its talent on the field every single day. One of the biggest questions for the Dodgers this year revolves around their pitching staff versus the changes on the offensive side with the offseason additions and departures. It's always a challenge to see how the team will replicate last year's offensive output. Baseball, as we know, is unpredictable. Players can peak at different times, regress unexpectedly, and performance is never perfectly linear. The team has made moves to supplement key positions, but whether those new additions will meet or exceed the production of those who departed remains to be seen. When it comes to the infield, there are some clear strengths, but also some intriguing debates. Corner infield spots seem fairly solid heading into the season. The new acquisitions bring versatility and depth, particularly at third base, which has historically been a position that demands both range and a strong arm. There's a level of confidence in having players who can step in and perform defensively, even if there's some adjustment to the major league game from previous leagues abroad. Meanwhile, first base remains a more straightforward position with consistent defensive reliability, allowing the Dodgers to feel secure with their lineup there. However, the real discussion heats up in the middle of the infield, shortstop and second base. These positions are where most of the debate and planning happen, and the choices here can impact both defense and offense. The team needs to decide not just who plays these positions, but how they rotate players and manage the physical demands of the season. Some players have the flexibility to cover multiple spots, but the key is balancing playing time to maintain peak performance while protecting their bodies. Across a 160-game schedule, decisions here also influence lineup construction and how the team matches up against opposing pitchers. One of the standout players this offseason has been the new third baseman, who brings a strong arm and solid defensive instincts, even if range is limited. There's confidence that he can handle the position, but questions remain about how his bat will translate at the major league level. Adaptation to a higher level of pitching is always a challenge for players transitioning from international leagues. And while the defensive tools are promising, the offensive output is where the biggest uncertainty lies. The team is clearly investing in him to be a starter, not a bench piece, which shows they expect him to make an immediate impact. Looking at second base and shortstop, the Dodgers have several options, and this is where strategy comes into play. There are players who can rotate in as utility options, and others who are expected to take on the bulk of the defensive workload. One approach is to place a defensive specialist at shortstop, where range and fielding skills are paramount, while allowing a more consistent offensive contributor to play second base, preserving energy and maximizing effectiveness at the plate. This type of management requires careful monitoring throughout spring training and into the regular season, ensuring the right balance between defense and offense is maintained. Versatility is a theme across the roster, and it will be fascinating to see how the Dodgers manager utilizes it. Utility players provide the flexibility to adjust lineups based on matchups, rest players when needed, and cover injuries without a drop in performance. Players like Ernie Clement have proven they can handle multiple infield positions, offering reassurance that the team can adapt as the season progresses. Meanwhile, those expected to play every day need clear roles to maintain rhythm and minimize wear and tear, especially in positions that require greater range and reaction time, like shortstop. One of the critical dynamics this season is determining who will anchor the middle infield. Some of the younger, more flexible players bring defensive consistency, while others are expected to contribute more offensively. The key is finding a balance where both can thrive. For instance, a player who is an elite defender may take the shortstop spot, covering more ground and handling the toughest defensive plays, while another strong player focuses on second base, taking on less taxing throws and movements. This strategy allows the team to keep both players performing at their best throughout a long season. The Dodgers' approach also considers matchups against left-handed and right-handed pitchers. Rotations and positioning are adjusted to exploit strengths, whether in the infield or out in the corners. Managers are carefully mapping out scenarios where players like Addison Barger and Davis Schneider can contribute as utility options. filling in gaps as needed without compromising the overall defensive structure. The combination of established starters and versatile backups creates a lineup that is difficult for opponents to predict and adjust against. With spring training underway, much of the conversation revolves around preparation and experimentation. Players are being tested at different positions. New acquisitions are learning the team's defensive strategies, and managers are observing how each player responds to the grind of a full schedule. The ultimate goal is to establish consistency while preserving flexibility, ensuring the team is ready for the grind of regular season play and the high-stakes intensity of postseason matchups. The Dodgers are clearly in a position where depth matters as much as star power. Having multiple options at key positions allows them to manage injuries, maintain player health, and optimize matchups throughout the season. It also provides insurance against unexpected slumps, as players rotating into different positions can maintain the team's overall effectiveness. The challenge lies in communication, clarity of roles, and ensuring each player understands both their primary responsibility and their supporting role within the team structure. Defensive metrics, positioning, and strategic substitutions will be under scrutiny throughout the season. The Dodgers have invested in players with strong defensive capabilities, but how those skills translate over a long schedule will be critical, particularly at the shortstop and second base positions, where reaction time, range, and arm strength play a huge role. The team will need to monitor performance closely to ensure they maintain a competitive edge. Every decision regarding positioning, rest days, and lineup construction will have ripple effects across both defense and offense. The balance of offense and defense is always at the center of team strategy. While some players are primarily known for their bat, others are invaluable for their glove. The Dodgers roster demonstrates a thoughtful approach, blending offensive power with defensive reliability. Managing this balance across an entire season, including midweek games, doubleheaders, and playoff races, requires attention to detail, flexibility, and a deep understanding of each player's strengths, weaknesses, and adaptability. As we move deeper into the season, one of the most fascinating aspects to watch will be how the Dodgers manage their utility players. These are the guys who may not have a fixed position, but can step into multiple roles, depending on the matchup or situation. Players like Addison Barger and Davis Schneider provide the team with remarkable flexibility, giving the manager options to rest starters, adjust to opposing pitchers, or cover for injuries without losing defensive integrity. The ability to plug and play across the infield or even in corner outfield spots can be a decisive factor over a 160-game schedule, especially when playoff positioning is on the line. One of the key benefits of having versatile players is that it allows the team to preserve the health of core starters while still maintaining strong defensive coverage. For example, a player who can handle third base, shortstop, or second base at a high level means the manager can rotate players intelligently, providing days off when needed, without compromising the overall defensive structure. This becomes particularly important when the team faces consecutive games against high-caliber pitchers, or in stretches where travel and fatigue can take a toll. Depth like this is not just a convenience, it's a strategic advantage that can be leveraged to maintain consistency throughout the season. The Dodgers' infield depth also opens up possibilities for interesting matchup strategies against pitchers with extreme tendencies, whether they induce more ground balls or fly balls. The manager can slot players whose defensive strengths match the demands of the inning. Similarly, offensive considerations play a role. Some players thrive against left-handed pitching, while others maintain better plate discipline against righties. By carefully deploying players based on these matchups, the Dodgers can maximize the effectiveness of their lineup, while simultaneously minimizing defensive risk. This dual focus on both sides of the ball is part of what makes roster management at this level so intricate and exciting. Spring training is where a lot of these scenarios are tested. Managers use these games not just to evaluate performance, but to experiment with positioning and rotation. For example, a utility player might start at second base one day and shortstop the next, giving the coaching staff valuable insight into range, reaction times, and comfort levels at different spots. Meanwhile, the starting infielders are monitored closely for both defensive efficiency and offensive output. These early season adjustments set the tone for the rest of the year and help prevent surprises once the regular season grind begins. While flexibility is a significant advantage, clarity of roles is equally crucial. The Dodgers are careful to establish who their everyday starters are. versus who will rotate in as needed. Players like Andre Jimenez and Ernie Clement are expected to anchor the middle infield, providing elite defense and reliable offensive contributions. The challenge is ensuring that players in rotation understand their roles and can transition smoothly without impacting the team's rhythm. This requires communication, trust, and a well-defined game plan that adapts to performance, injuries, and even momentum shifts throughout the season. Another layer of strategy comes from evaluating how new acquisitions fit into the team dynamic. Players transitioning from international leagues, like those coming from Japan, face unique challenges, particularly when adjusting to major league pitching and the speed of the game. While their defensive skills may translate well, the offensive side often requires a period of adaptation. The team has to decide whether to ease these players into starting roles gradually or trust them immediately with high-pressure assignments. These decisions can have ripple effects across the infield and outfield, influencing both rotation plans and lineup construction. Managing physical wear and tear is another critical consideration. Positions like shortstop demand extensive range and arm strength, while second base involves slightly less taxing throws but still requires quick reflexes. By strategically rotating players between these spots, the Dodgers aim to minimize injuries and fatigue while maximizing overall team performance. For instance, a player who excels defensively at shortstop but has heavy offensive responsibilities might be given occasional days at second base to reduce physical strain. Conversely, a utility player can step into the shortstop role when necessary, allowing the team to maintain defensive consistency without overburdening their primary starters. Matchups against opposing pitchers also drive strategic decisions. The Dodgers are constantly evaluating left-handed versus right-handed pitching, pitch velocity, and hitter tendencies to optimize both defensive positioning and offensive production. This kind of detailed matchup analysis allows the manager to make adjustments on a game-by-game basis. Whether it's shifting infield alignments, rotating players, or deciding which utility options to deploy over the course of a long season, these micro decisions can have a significant impact on overall team success, particularly in tight divisional races or playoff contention. The balance between defense and offense remains at the core of the Dodgers' approach. While certain players are primarily valued for their bat, others are chosen for their defensive prowess. Creating a lineup that leverages both aspects effectively is essential for sustaining success throughout the long grind of the season. Players who can contribute in multiple ways, both defensively and offensively, become especially valuable, offering the team flexibility to adapt to evolving situations without losing a competitive edge. The depth and versatility of the roster give the Dodgers a significant advantage, particularly when facing injuries, slumps, or high-pressure games. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. In a statement that is already stirring the baseball world, ESPN analyst Stephen A. Smith has reportedly delivered a warning that has fans and insiders buzzing. If Dodgers manager Dave Roberts doesn't win with this team, he should be banned from the sport. While Smith is known for his dramatic flair, the comment underscores a growing tension surrounding one of Major League Baseball's most scrutinized rosters. The Los Angeles Dodgers have long been seen as a powerhouse, a team stacked with talent capable of contending for championships year after year. Yet, despite their star-studded lineup and deep pitching staff, speculation continues to mount over whether Roberts, a manager who has earned respect for his calm demeanor and strategic approach, can truly lead this team to ultimate success. Smith's comment, hyperbolic as it may be, reflects a sentiment shared by many in the media. Expectations are sky high, and patience is limited. Industry insiders suggest that the pressure on Roberts is not just about winning. It's about managing egos, handling injuries, and navigating the modern, analytics-driven baseball landscape. With the Dodgers' payroll among the largest in the league and their roster featuring several marquee players, anything short of deep playoff runs is seen by some as underachievement. Rumors have already begun to circulate that rival teams are quietly monitoring the Dodgers' clubhouse, speculating on how a potential collapse might affect managerial reputations across the league. Meanwhile, fans are divided. Some argue that Roberts has earned the right to operate without the weight of unrealistic expectations, pointing to his steady hand and prior successes. Others, emboldened by Smith's fiery proclamation, insist that this is the moment of truth for the manager, a proving ground, where only results will justify his place in Dodgers history. Social media is already ablaze, with debates over whether Smith's statement is merely sensational commentary or a reflection of a broader narrative that in today's win-now environment, even a talented roster offers no guarantees, and managerial survival is as precarious as ever. Regardless of where the truth lies, one thing is certain: all eyes are on Dave Roberts. The Dodgers season will not just define the team's legacy, it may very well determine how a manager is remembered in an era where expectations often outweigh patience. And in the world of Stephen A. Smith, words like banished are rarely empty. They are a challenge, a spark that could ignite discussion, debate, and perhaps even controversy that will echo far beyond the dugout. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.